Hi, welcome back to Culinary Adventures. Well, here we have it. We have some beautiful specimens of dead animal protein. And what we have here are some really nice ribeye steaks. We also have some baby lamb chops, and these guys are really, really flavorful and tender. And we have this big guy being a beef tenderloin. And this is basically where the filet mignon comes from. So, being that my dad and grandfather were butchers, I've had some experience with a knife. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut this off, trim this off, and crust it in some black pepper, a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to do it in our French grill. So it's really simple. You take your knife, nice and sharp, get this unit off here, get this guy off here, and keep that because that's good meat. Take this. Okay. We're going to take probably 2.5 inch thick. Got that. That is a really nice fillet. And this one about equal thickness. Set that aside. Okay. Now what we're going to simply do is I've got some cracked black pepper, coarse ground. I'm going to get it on all surface areas, or as close to all surface areas as possible. And the easiest way I've found to do this is just put it on a plate. And from there, non-stick pan, bam, nice and easy. Same with the second one, get it nice and encrusted, and get all those surface areas. And if you don't like pepper, I suggest using cracked black pepper, but if you don't like a lot, use as much as you want. But it is essential to this recipe. Add a little bit of salt. Don't worry, it's not going to dry out the meat. And what I did was I've got the French grill in a medium-high setting, and it's not going to take long because when I'm doing fillets, I like doing them a little bit more rare than anything else. I don't like, cooking them beyond recognition. And as you see, it's getting really, really nice. The flavors are encrusting this. The pepper is marrying with the salt and the meat, and it's just one of those things that reminds you of a steakhouse. You could also use this recipe when you're outside. You could use it on the grill. It's simple. It's probably one of the easiest types of meat you can do. You can't really ruin it unless you overcook it. And this is not the case because with beef tenderloin or filet mignon, you do not want to overcook it. It's going to really taste like garbage. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm just going to raise the fire a little bit. And I'm also going to take a little bit of tarragon vinegar and some Madeira wine, and when I plate this, I'm going to deglaze the pan, okay, and then get the bits and everything that left at the bottom of the pan. I'm going to make that deglaze, cook it down a little bit, bring it to a simmer, and pour it right over the meat. It's going to add some really nice character to the steaks. And when I cook these, I don't like them cooked well done. I like them cooked where, I could still see nice pink inside. Awesome. And if you see the encrusting, it's imperative that you use coarse pepper. If you don't have it, I suggest getting it. If not, you could use cracked black pepper. But in this case, for this recipe, you want that nice browned, encrusted look. Turn it on this side, get that a little bit brown. And it's perfectly fine to play with your steaks. that nice and brown. This is smelling awesome. There is nothing better than a nice fillet. Also, another tip when you're doing steaks, you could press down on your meat without causing too much problems. And at the end of the show, I'll show you what I mean by pressing down and with the press and the between your thumb and index finger trick. Okay, set that aside. And we've got all that those nice bits. I'll take about a 1/4 cup of tarragon vinegar, 1/4 cup of Madeira. I like using Madeira wine. It adds a really nice, almost smoky character to the meat. Let that marry for a while. And I'm just tilting it back and forth. And voila. What looks better than that is a beautiful steak. Awesome. There we have it, pepper encrusted filet mignon. You're going to want to taste this. You're going to want to cook this as soon as you get the recipe. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. Hang in there. Hi, welcome back. Well, as you see, our ribeye steaks are doing absolutely fantastic, and they've been cooking here while we went on break, and you know what? They are ready to be taken off and plated. And is that pretty? Nice, encrusted. Man alive, that is beautiful. Get that off there. Beautiful. And man, flavor, packed with flavor, with that blackened seasoning, and I tell you, delectable. So you're going to want that recipe, and of course it's at our website. Now, baby lamb chops. These are U.S. certified young lamb. That's what you want, okay? Ask your meat cutter or butcher to get that for you. It will not taste lamby, gamey, anything like that, okay? Simple, nice and simple. We do them in a non-stick pan, okay? Cracked black pepper. A little bit of salt. Turn them over. And I'm doing this on the cutting board, but that's because we're here at home. If you're using any type of poultry or meat, I suggest keeping it nice and clean. But for our purposes today, we're not having a lot of people come here and touching and cross-contaminating, so that's not a worry. But keep that in mind when you're doing that at home. Now, with this lamb, okay, you're not going to want to cook it a very long time. The key is, okay, to cook it and basically serve it as rare as you can possibly handle, okay? It's one of those things that you do not want to overcook, because when you start overcooking lamb, that's when it starts tasting lamby, okay? And people associate that with lamb because it's got that taste that people say, oh, you know, I don't like lamb, or lamb tastes, you know, like this or that. Well, most of the time it's because it's been cooked too long. And on a previous show, I think I mentioned that my dad and grandfather were butchers, and I used to hang out their butcher shop during the summer times, you know, when we were home for summer vacation from school. And I grew up eating lamb chops and veal chops and things like that. And the key is to basically cook it, okay, but not cook it beyond recognition, because that's when people say, I don't like certain things, okay? And I've learned that it doesn't take all that long to cook lamb. Nice and brown. Takes no time. And I like it nice and tender. Most of the time, you know, fairly rare. Not raw, but barely rare. I use no oil here. The fat, whatever we're searing it in here, has come from the fat of the lamb itself. But it gets nice and caramelized. And like I said, use a non-stick pan when you're doing this because you don't have to add any additional oils. Salt and pepper. Beautiful. And these guys will melt in your mouth. Check it out. Oh yeah. About a minute more. We'll get our plate. And then when these are done and I have them plated, I want to talk to you about pushing down on your meat, using your finger and touching, seeing the springiness of your meat. It's not springing back too much. Okay, these guys are just about, it does not take that long. These guys are succulent, tender. They're going to melt in your mouth. Awesome. Baby lamb chops, done the easy way. Do those look great or what? Now, like I was talking before about touching your meats and getting to know your meats, okay? Simple. You got this piece of flesh here between your index finger and your thumb, okay? If you hang your hand loose like this piece of skin here, okay? If you push down on it, it gives you no tension, okay? And you push down on your meat. If you get that tension there, you know it's fairly rare to medium rare, okay? If you just make a fist like this, not tight, just you know, a loose fist, and you push there, okay? And you touch your meat, and you compare. That's most of the time is medium done. Now, if you take your fist and you clench it really like you're going to make a fist, and you touch there. And it's taut, okay? It's tight. And you touch your meat and you go back here, okay? If the consistency is basically the same, okay, it's usually medium well to well done. That's how you can judge the doneness on your meat. It's simple. You could also use a meat tenderizer, but if you master this technique, no problem, okay? So we're going to take a quick break and come right back. So hang in there. Hi, welcome back to Culinary Adventures. I hope you enjoyed everything, and really, when you use that technique with the skin between the index finger and the thumb, it's foolproof. Start using it, okay? Because this part here really is the closest thing you can get to a raw or a cooked piece of steak or meat, okay? So you're not going to burn yourself. Just do it. Trust me.